Alright, day 2 of canning some venison. This is the ground venison. It's in a big honkin' container here. What I'm going to do is we'll turn on this thing and zero it out. And we're going to can some, I'm going to do some chili venison, and then I'm going to do just some regular canned venison using some Lawrys and some beef broth base and a little bit of dried onion. And what we'll do is we'll mix, like I said in the previous video, it's about 1 pound, 10 ounces of ground venison, and 1 pound, 10 ounces of ground venison, and depending on what the recipe calls for the chili, it's 1 1/3 tablespoons of the seasoning per 1 pound. So you just have to do your own calculations. You can make it stronger or weaker as you like. But remember, this is for canning venison, and the only way you can can venison is with a pressure canner. You can't use a water bath canner. You can't do meats in water bath canner, or low fat or low acid foods, low acid vegetables and stuff like that. Got to check your directions, otherwise you could poison yourself. You don't want that. I'll get back after the jars are full. We'll mix up the seasoning right with as we're adding the meat, and get the jars full. I can do 7 quarts at a time in the pressure canner. And the next thing will be the, as you can see, I've got plenty of stuff to do. Those are the cans I did yesterday of the venison, and then next up will be salsa. Get away from the meat and get into pressure canning some salsa. All right, we're taking the chili. The first one we're doing is the chili mix. And basically you mix it all up, make sure you get a good mix, and then I use one of these funnels that keeps the rim of the jar clear. And you want to make sure you put in a little bit, and you want to push it down. You don't want any air, or as little air as possible. Push it down in the corners. Try to eliminate any air pockets. Air pockets are bad. Although I really don't know. I mean, other than a little bit of air. I don't know how much damage it would do, but rules are rules. So we'll fill this up all the way up to about 3/4 of an inch to the top. You don't want to fill it up to the normal, like a water bath canner jar, because under pressure, the water will come way up to the top, even if you leave it 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And then after it gets done, you'll notice in these, the water goes down quite a bit. But that's okay, it's been pressure canned, and it's perfectly fine. So we'll fill this up until, like I said, about 3/4 of an inch from the top, just above the shoulders here. And that'll be it. Alright, I've got the venison along with the spices. Here you see in the pressure can I already got 3. I always mark them with either what kind they're done and the year. Got to do the year. Here I've got the regular venison spice that I did on my previous canning video, the original canning video. And you can see how much head space I left. Try to leave about that much because it's going to boil up, and it'll push a lot of vapor out. You'll actually smell the spices a little bit as it's pressure canning, because like I said, there's a lot of pressure. There's 10 pounds of pressure going for over 90 minutes. So we'll get her started. All right, a few things that I did because the venison was in the refrigerator. The venison was cool, so after I put them in the canner, I eased the temperature up over a longer time than I normally would if it was just a room temperature vegetable or something else, or a steak or something, or a roast or whatever. Anyway, I eased the temperature up because you've only got about maybe 1.5 to 2 inches, and after you add the jars, it comes up the midway of the jars, maybe this high, and so it doesn't take long for, as you can hear, the venting process to start, which I have the timer ready to hit as soon as it starts whistling, and it's pretty close. But you want to ease the temperature up because it goes really, really quickly, and you don't. And cold and glass does not. Cold heat and glass can make a jar explode or crack if the temperature goes up too quickly. So we'll go 10 minutes as soon as this starts, and it's starting right now. Also, notice how I was very careful when I hit the start of the timer, because this little spout here is actually, if I put my hand way up here, I can feel it. I can feel the steam coming out. Now, if you were to just reach above your kettle, you could really get a nice steam burn, and that is hot, 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 and it happens very quickly. So you don't want to do that. And we'll wait 10 minutes, or 9.5 now, before we put the old lid on it. Okay, timer's up. We're going to press that. We'll put our little knob here on 10, make sure it's 10. Notice how I got the glove on? It's going to get quiet, I promise. There we go. Now, the reason why that they do the venting is because if something happens, like a jar cracks or if there's food flying around in there, that's when it's probably going to happen, is in the beginning. So now that it's vented for 10 minutes, whatever probably will happen. Although at this point you never walk away from it from this point. 90 minutes, as a matter of fact. There we go. 90 minutes, and you stay in the house. Disaster can happen if you walk away, because you never know what's going to happen. Now, if you come in a little closer, the good thing about this thing is you have different safe marks. You've got the 10-pound regulator. You also have the gauge here that will tell you what the poundage is. And then back here, of course, you have the little knob here. That's the escape. If pressure got completely out of control, that would blow. There's a rubber bung. I don't know what the pressure point is, but instead of the whole thing exploding into a metal shrapnel, that would blow. So it's got 3 different safety features, which is great. And now we'll go 90 minutes. And until later, Steve out.
Okay, and they're out. Bubbling away. I'll be going at it for a while. Now you can see the onion floating around in there. Now as it cools off, we'll end up with a lot more head space than what it shows right now. Some of these are right up at the top, and that's why I said you don't want to add water, because it'd be just too much for it to handle. And filling it completely with meat worked out just fine.